Alrighty guys, here we go again. Of course we have Gamerant here with another fantastic article. As you can see here on screen, it's been published 6 days ago. I kind of debated whether or not I should read this article with you guys and react to it, because obviously the last one that we read, which is actually from the same author, being Tristan Jerkovic, no disrespect to him, he's trying to cover Magatamas. It's awesome. I love it whenever we can share our passion, but I think he has some interesting opinions, especially from his last article, which was basically saying how Shin Megami Tensei 5 should be Persona 5. That was basically it. That gave us a lot of laughs. So some of y'all asked me to do the same thing for this article, which I didn't read the whole thing because obviously I don't want to be spoiled for the whole thing, but it's an interesting one. So as CJ would say, shit, here we go again. So let's jump right into it and see what he has to say here. Link down in the description below, by the way, guys. Once again, no disrespect to Tristan Jerkovic here, no disrespect to Gamerant. I just want to, chat and give my opinion on their ideas here. So let's see what they have to say. Alright, so 10 of the biggest fixes the game needs. Talking about SMT 3 Nocturne, but the HD remastered version of the game, which came out physically yesterday. So let's see. The Shin Megami Tensei III Nocturne remaster added a lot of new content to the original game. The biggest improvements include better visuals, voice dialogues, and an easy difficulty as the major pluses. As much as this game added or fixed, it still left a lot on the table. Alright, nothing wrong here. It averages out then to a mid-tier remaster compared to the other ones out there like Final Fantasy X, for example. Interesting that he chose FF10 because that's also a remaster that kept its frame rate, kept its 30 frames per second frame rate from the PS2 era, even running on the PlayStation 4. So interesting comparison here. Some of these upcoming fixes could be added in future updates to the game or through DLC. However, they are implemented. These changes are needed to make SMT III Nocturne more accessible in a modern age. Alright, let's see what they have to say here. Number 10, a guiding path. Getting lost in this game is easy. One really has to talk to every NPC, and even then the right direction to go may be misleading. Thankfully, this game is almost 2 decades old, so there are plenty of readable guides out there along with video walkthroughs. Atlus still should have added a guidance or int system in some respect to this remaster, something that removes some of the guesswork and reduces the time washed just trying to find out where to go. So that's something that we kind of hear often. Personally, I think Nocturne is it's easier to find your way through the game than a game like SMT 4, especially in the overworld, I would say. I really prefer the Vortex World versus Tokyo in SMT 4. But I want to agree with this, but at the same time, it depends on how they do it. Because if they try to put an arrow on screen and tell you where to go at all times, it really takes off a ton of the charm of the game, basically. Because you're in a new Tokyo, you're not really supposed to know where to go. So exploration is key, and exploration is a main feature of the game, which means that if you don't necessarily enjoy the exploration in Nocturne, it's kind of the purpose of this whole thing. So if they were to add some, let's be honest, they won't, but let's assume that they could. If they were to add a guiding path, as he says, I would like them to do something like in 4 where they just give you one small sentence, like meet with Lucifer, for example, and they don't tell you more because you have to talk with souls around town, you have to talk with people around town, you have to find your way through the game yourself. It's intended, so not a missing feature, it's an intended feature, the lack of guidance whenever you explore. But alright, not a bad start. Number 9, random battle scale. Okay, random battles are a thing of the past. Okay. Although some games have figured out how to tweak them for a modern age. For example, Bravely Default has a sliding scale where random battles can generate normally, not at all, or with every step. This was great for when players did or did not want to grind. In SMT III Nocturne, getting into a fight takes a while, which is annoying since the grind is necessary as the game can be very challenging. There are items to increase the chances, but a built-in feature would also have been nice. Personally, I don't think that's an issue here because like as he says here, there's a certain difficulty level in Nocturne and the encounter rate, which is kind of high, is actually not a bad thing. It helps you gain experience, plus there's things that you can do that lowers the encounter rates. So there's the Estoma spell, for example, that you can use, which works really well whenever you travel a location, you explore a certain area where the demons in this area are lower level than you. You just use the Estoma spell and you don't encounter any enemies, at least. So if you were using the features from the game, I don't think that would be an issue personally. Now, it is an older RPG, it is an older turn-based RPG, and in some of those games, yes, the encounter rate is pretty high, but to me, since I really love this combat system, not an issue for me. But again, not too bad here, not too bad. Let's see what he has to say next. Alright, so his other pick here is saving. Without reading it, I think I know what he wants to say, so we're gonna have to discuss this here. This remaster added suspending as a save feature. Players can do this anywhere in the game, but suspending is only a temporary save. Once loaded up, the save will delete itself. It's like putting a bandage for a finger cut on a broken bone. One can't even save normally on the world map. Restricting a save anywhere feature would be more acceptable than the current system. Alright, now in any type of SMT game, there is a certain level of challenge which was purposely implemented in the game by the developers. It is an intended feature, once again. So you can only save at terminals. It adds some type of difficulty to the game, and it just blocks you from taking advantage of the game and making it too easy. For example, saving right before a boss battle. Sometimes you have to fight like multiple bosses. I'll take the Thor boss fight. Well, that's a fight where you have to fight multiple bosses before you reach Thor. If there was a save feature like this, you could save between every single one of those fights, which makes it way easier. You can actually just try to see what are the weaknesses of the enemy, you die, and then you come back. That's a feature that wouldn't please everyone. I think the suspend feature that they added is a very good thing because it's not OP, but it still is a very good quality of life improvement. Because if you just want to play for 30 minutes, well, you might not reach a new terminal in 30 minutes. So suspend your game, come back when you're ready to jump back in. That's dope. That's something that I enjoyed. The ability to save everywhere, not really my thing, to be honest. I can't agree with this point here. I think it's kind of cool in certain games. In Nocturne, I feel like terminals are placed at the right place and at the right time, so not something that I wish was in the game personally. Alright, number 7 here, Magatama skills. Okay? Magatama is like this game's version of Materia from FF7. Okay, yeah, I can see it, The main character can equip one at a time, which will grant him a fixed stat boost along with new skills to learn. In SMT III Nocturne, both the hero and monsters only have 8 skill slots. This sort of defeats the purpose of Magatama, in that there's no room for any kind of experimentation. Equipping 8 skills for battle would be okay if the other skills were in reserve outside of battle, again, like Materia. Okay, no. Because here the purpose of Magatamas is that when you equip a certain Magatama and you level up at certain times, with this Magatama equipped, it gives you access to new spells, which means that you can fully customize your Demi-Fiend. You can decide which type of spells from which Magatama you want on him. If you were to do it like what he describes, or at least what I understand from what he describes, you would gain all the spells instantly from equipping the Magatama, and if you took it off, you wouldn't have the spells anymore, which would block you from fully customizing your character. I'm gonna give you a small example. For example, you equip an electric magic Magatama, you raise a level, you gain shock. Plus, then you decide to take your Magatama off, you keep shock on your character, on your Demi-Fiend, you equip an ice Magatama, you level up, you gain ice breath. Well, you have shock and ice breath now. It allows you to fully customize your Demi-Fiend, not only have one Magatama on you, which gives you shock spells and all, it would block you, it would limit you a ton from customization. And customization options are a very good thing. Now he mentions materia from FF7. I didn't play the whole game FF7, and it's been a while, so I don't really remember what those are doing exactly. But if I remember correctly, that's what they do. When you equip a Magatama, it gives you certain spells. When you take it off, you don't have the spells anymore. So I completely disagree with this point here. So let's move on. Number 6, add a minimap. To this game's credit, the map is great. Everything auto map itself out for blocked areas or exists. The only problem with it is the fact that players have to go into the menu to use it. Most dungeon crawlers do have mini-maps, and it would be great if this remaster implemented one as well. Going to the menu is a relatively easy and fast process, so this grievance is low on the list of needed fixes. Fair request here, 100%. I wish there was a mini-map on screen, especially since Nocturne has some very big dungeons, so obviously when you play games on like a 3DS, you have your map on the other screen. Like I wouldn't be able to play Strange Journey without the mini map here on screen at all times. So I agree with this point. I wish they had some small mini map on the main screen. That would have been pretty cool. Number 5 here, run speed. The main character, the Demi-Fiend, is not the slowest moving character in an RPG. That said, he could be going a lot faster. There is no dedicated run button to extend his speed, which makes traversal more tedious than it should be. How is this an issue? Like, was anyone playing Nocturne? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comment sections below. But when you play Nocturne, was that one of your wish? Like, oh man, I wish I could go quicker on the Vortex world. I think he's really trying to find issues where there's none, to be honest. But hey, it's just my opinion, and that's his. So all good here. In dungeons, it's fine. However, the world map is where this fix is really needed. On that note, getting a new avatar for the map would also be more appreciated than the Gamerant cursor. Man, wait until they show SMT 5 at E3 and we get the same icon on the world exploration map. So once again, run speed. No, I really don't think that's necessary. To change the icon, the little exploration sequences, I wouldn't mind, because I mean, it's been a while since the first game we've had this cursor. It's the same one. So yeah. Number 4, fast forward buttons. One fix that could solve the running issue would be to add a fast forward button. The big want for this would be for battling, but making the feature actually outside of combat scenarios would be nice too. Other recent remasters have had this mechanic, including a few of the Final Fantasy games like FF12. Even modern RPGs that aren't remasters have this function, like Bravely Default 2. Fair enough. I don't personally care, especially in combat. He says I would like that for combat. I would say in combat, not really, because you have to think in those games. It's not a button masher. You have to think before you move. If you like auto battles at all time, at some point you'll kill yourself. That's what's gonna happen. So if you go too fast, you won't really notice the weaknesses and resistance of your enemies, which won't really work. Plus, it's super fast paced in Nocturne. You do your spells, you're in battle, you're out of battle, everything's super fast. Outside of battle, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use it personally, but I understand why he wants it here. So once again, while I don't really agree, not too bad here, not too bad. Number 3, terminal differences. All right. There are 2 types of terminals in the game, which is odd because they look exactly the same. Every terminal can save the game, which is a plus. However, there is only one master terminal in a given area that can connect to the Amala network to initiate fast travel. The others can fast travel to this master's terminal inside an internal network, but not outside. However, the master terminal cannot transfer players back to them. It is a very limited way of doing business. Once again, I really think that's an intended feature. When you travel in a dungeon, for example, during the obelisk section of the game, you have like 2, if I remember correctly, you have 2 smaller terminals that you can access. Well, if you could teleport to like Akasuka, Eel, Fuse Demons, buy items, and then come back to this terminal, that would be really OP, and the game would open its arms to being super easy. So once again, I really feel like this is intended for you to not be able to travel and to heal back to your base every single step that you take, every single time that you find a mini terminal inside of dungeons. Those mini terminals are in dungeons, which doesn't allow you to go back to the entrance, heal, come back. It would be way too easy. They want to have a challenge inside of dungeons. For example, if you go in the Mantra HQ, well, you're not gonna go down all those stairs every single time to heal after a fight. You will keep going, you will use your items, you will use your spells, and you will try to build up a strategy to persevere through the dungeon. Once again, I think that's an intended feature, so I don't really agree here. Next up is single entrances. Okay, sometimes it can be hard to see what is and what is not an entrance. One may think an entrance is obvious only for it not to be one, and vice versa. That's where the map comes in to show where these openings are. Well, that is a good enough solution on its own. Other games have a feature to show where people can go and come out using a map. Pushing select in FF7 is one such game that does it. Again, I really don't think that's an issue, but I get it. I get why you want this feature in, and I can't really disagree here. Personally, for me, that was never an issue, especially what he refers here, the Achiko intersection. You can clearly see the entrances and exits here, so to me that was never an issue. If it was to some of y'all, let me know down in the comment section below, and maybe that's a very good fix that he wishes was in the game. I just don't really see it. Number 1, a costume change. The main character of this game might be the goofiest looking in the series. What? Nah, bro, you tripping. Demi-Fiend has a fantastic design. For main protagonists, including the Persona series, that is 100% true. I was wondering where was the Persona comparison here. Who thought it was a good idea or cool idea to run around half naked in Capris sporting Thrawn tattoos? Yeah, nah, that doesn't work. Costume DLC would be nice to see then. All he needs is a single t-shirt and this would fix a lot. Hey man, I really wish Demi-Fiend had a t-shirt. Even if someone likes the look of the protagonist, an ability to customize the Demi-Fiend's design would still be welcome. Once again, okay, this whole list is basically like nitpicking and like small little things that he wished was in the game, or he wishes the game was easier. That's basically how I could sum up this whole list. Once again, not a really bad list like his last list, but definitely not a good list either. Like I can think of some very important changes that could have been added to SMT 3, like giving us the uncompressed soundtrack, making sure the frame rate is stable, 60 frames per second. I know it's an important feature to some, the DLCs being free, stuff like that are like adjustments and fixes that I think would be great in Nocturne HD, while this whole list, custom change, nope. Single entrances, okay, don't really care. Terminal differences, nope. Fast forward buttons, doesn't really make sense in this game personally. Run speed, unnecessary. Minimap, yes, I'll give him that. Magatamas skills, nope. Saving, nope. Random battle scale, nope. A guiding path, fuck no. So I mean, this whole list is pretty to be honest. Once again, we've seen worse. We'll keep a close eye on Gamerant. We'll see if they have something else to say. But what do you guys think? What did you think of this whole list from Mr. Tristan Jurkovic? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about this list. And most importantly, what are your fixes that you wish the game had when it comes to new features or smaller little things like he mentioned here? Let me know. Drop a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, as always guys, a thumbs up helps a ton, and I have some big things planned for the channel, including multiple streams for upcoming events such as E3, PC Gamer Show, Summer Game Fest, etc. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you want to stay up to date on anything Shin Megami Tensei, Atlas, or Persona, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to ring the notification bell. 20% of my viewers only have the notification bells wrong, so please do so. Thank you all so much for watching, I appreciate your time, and have a great day. Take care, bye.